All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Less Stress, More Peace and Happiness Summit. We're super excited that you're joining us. My name is Janine Wooten. I'm your host. And we have had so many great speakers and so many interesting topics. And I know that you're really getting a lot of value and learning so many different tools and techniques for dealing with daily stress. Today is no different. You are in for a big surprise. Today we have Natalie Oniszk-De Vincenzi. Meet Natalie, a passionate mindset and heartset coach who specializes in turning doubtful dreamers into empowered entrepreneurs and guiding aspiring entrepreneurs through the rollercoaster ride of the entrepreneurial journey. With her unique focus on meditation, Natalie empowers individuals to cultivate a harmonious balance between their minds and their hearts while reducing stress along the way. And don't think that she just works with entrepreneurs. So we know if she can handle the stress of entrepreneurship, she can handle stress in anybody's life. So stay tuned. Having spent close to a decade in high-stress political environments, including collaborating with influential members of Congress and overseeing multi-million-dollar budgets, Natalie now brings this invaluable experience to her coaching practice. She understands the challenges and pressures that entrepreneurs face firsthand, and she's dedicated to supporting them and navigating these hurdles with grace and resilience. In addition to her coaching experience, Natalie is the founder of You Are Enough Company, a purpose-driven brand that spreads uplifting messages of empowerment through their messaging on their clothing. It's their mission to help people feel seen and valued and know that they matter, as well as making a meaningful impact. And by the way, 100% of those proceeds are donated to mental health awareness and research. So whether you're an entrepreneur or not, you're going to learn a lot of valuable information today. So stay tuned and please welcome with me, Natalie.
Hello.
Hi, Natalie. Welcome on with us. We're super excited that you're going to bring all your experience and your valuable information to everyone.
Me too. I'm so excited to be here. And yeah, I'm just ready to share all the knowledge that I have and all the tools and techniques. So I am just excited.
Perfect. I am going to step back and give you the floor.
Awesome.
And we're gonna put up your title and off and running. So please, I'm reading you look so young to have done all these things that you've done and actually worked in a government environment. I can't imagine the stress there. So I know if you can handle that. So please just tell us, I start everybody off with telling us a little bit about your story, because I always think that's interesting to people. And I love how people take their story into what they're doing now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm a mindset and heartset coach, and my journey really began the same as probably everyone else's here I was struggling with insomnia and not being able to shut my mind off at night. And so a few years ago, I had heard about meditation and how incredible and important it was for reducing stress and helping you sort of manage your mind and just the thoughts that you're experiencing. And so there was a meditation studio down the street from where I was living, and I decided to check it out. And from the first moment I went, I was hooked.
Nice.
It really transformed the way that I felt, and I left feeling so much lighter, so much happier. And so from that moment, I really knew that that was something that was really good for me. And I even got to a point where I was able to fall asleep within less than 10 minutes of shutting my eyes, which was like a miracle at that point for me.
Exactly.
So I know how much it worked for me, and it really transformed my life and the way I showed up in the world. And then at the beginning of COVID, I know a lot of people were experiencing stress and really having a hard time with just how they were feeling and coping with it. And so I created a meditation for friends and family, and I just put it out there into the world, and I got great feedback, and it was really helpful for people. And so people then started asking me to help them more. And I was like, this is it. This is my calling. I really just want to help people find that sense of peace within them and help them transform their lives. So I've been doing that ever since, and it's been so amazing and so fulfilling and really just invaluable to be a part of people's journeys and, making their lives better. So
Absolutely. I love that. I always love how people, find an answer that works for them and
yeah,
help
exactly.
them. And I know, especially dealing with them is very, very hard. And so the fact that you got like almost immediate results right then and there and could fall asleep quicker, that's huge, because being able to sleep then impacts everything in your life.
Totally. It really does create a ripple effect. And, when you're struggling with something like that, you try not to, you really invalidate how important it is for you.
Mhm.
But once you get it, you're like, oh, I see why that is so important. I can notice and I can feel the difference. So,
Right.
it helped with sleep. It helped with just everything, even, day-to-day work stress, the way in which I cared about things and the way in which, little things would usually stress me out. They just
Mhm.
stopped stressing me out. And,
Mhm.
part of that is because regular meditation does shrink your amygdala, which is that part of your brain responsible for your stress response. So
Mhm. Do you think that is there for you? Do you notice that you need to do a certain amount of time in meditation every day for people who've never meditated before? Do you suggest easing into a certain amount of time? So, what would you say to someone who's new to that practice?
that's a really great question. I think it really is about what works for you. If most people who start out meditating, or the reason why they don't start meditating, is because they feel that it's it's something that, I don't know how to shut off my mind, but that's
Mhm.
when people say that to me, I'm like, that is the exact reason why you need to meditate.
Exactly.
So even if it's just like 5 minutes, even walking meditations are something that I incorporated into my life in this past year. And that's just listening to meditation while you're walking out in nature or anything. And it
Mhm.
still really helps you like get clear and to
Mhm.
get grounded, and can still make an impact. You can even do it with your eyes open.
Mhm.
I recommend that a lot, even if you're just at work, at your desk, just taking a
Nice.
sort of self check in and working with doing an eyes open meditation. So
Mm.
it's really about what works best for you. I do feel that having something is better than nothing. So even if that's 5 or 10 minutes, those habits do build up and it does start to become a part of who you are as a person when you do it consistently
Mhm.
and regularly. So if you're consistently activating yourself in a state of calm, you're going to start to become a person who is calm. So that is what I would say is the most important thing, is just, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 minutes,
Right.
30 minutes, 50 minutes, just do something every day, even if
I
it's
love
like
that.
doing dishes. Yeah.
But just start, even if it's a little
Yeah,
bit. So even if somebody says, well, yeah, my mind won't turn off, it's okay, just do it anyway, and your ability to relax and focus improves
absolutely. It comes with
naturally.
it. Yeah,
uh,
it definitely comes with it, and I would say that it's important to work with someone like me who, is who understands meditation and understands the different
mhm,
facets of it, and talk about what, would work for you, because there are so many different types of meditations. And
mm,
guided imagery, which is one of the meditations that I focus on, really helps people get out of their mind and into
right.
another world. So I would say that's a great place to start. Another thing is sound baths. Sound baths, I don't particularly do
Mm,
them, but there's something about the frequency, and I do incorporate those frequencies in the meditations I do, because your
nice.
brain will harmoniously connect with those frequencies, and you'll get on the same like wavelength essentially,
Wow.
as the frequency from those noises. So it's really
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. I've never experienced that, but I definitely want to.
Yeah, it's amazing. I would highly recommend it. I mean, when you get into that state, it's just so blissful, and
Mm,
that's where, at first it can be really difficult to get there.
right.
But once you do, it just becomes such a natural part of you, and
Mhm.
you start to crave it. Like, that's the thing,
Yes.
is at first it might be really difficult. just like any kind of diet is, anything that's good for you, it can be really hard at first to sort of get into it. But once you do, it starts to become easier. And then next thing you know, you're craving celery over fries and you're wanting to meditate over watch TV. And you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Right. So it is a gradual practice. And I think once people start to feel better and start to feel the results, you're right. It does become a way of life slowly, maybe, but it does.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's awesome. There's something you said a second ago. I had a thought in mind, but it slipped my mind. I'm sorry. It might come back. Oh, I know what it was. It was just about giving people hope, like that, just keep at it, because the way it kind of grows upon itself and becomes easier with time. And so that gives people hope. So the people that say, like most people say, like, oh, I tried it and, it doesn't work for me. I can't be quiet or this or that, or, there's never peace in the house. Like, just find those 5 minutes and do it. Everybody can find 5 minutes. And then do you recommend working up to 10 minutes, 15 minutes? What would you say about that? Is there an ideal time, or again, is everyone different?
Everyone's kind of different, everyone's routines differ. And, it's just really important to do what works for you and what feels good for you. And I think it's important to acknowledge that we have good days and we have bad days. And what's most important about that is that we just show up and that we do something for ourselves. And it's also really fascinating and interesting how much meditation can support you in those bad days. Those might be the days that you want to show up the least.
Right.
But even like today, for example, I just physically wasn't feeling the best. And I was like, okay, this is my time to meditate. When I start to notice my energy becoming low or I'm just not feeling right, that's when it's kind of a signal, go meditate, because it's this sort of recalibrator and this resetter of your system. And you come back out and you just feel so much better. So on the bad days, like, definitely meditate, turn to your practice.
Right. I think you're right. That would be the days where people think, like, I don't feel like it today, but that's when you need it the most.
Exactly. It really is just that sort of like guider that just like gets you back on track and gets you, just realigned and recalibrated. And whatever you're working with, if you're going through something in particular, there's always a meditation that can help you support you in that. Especially if you're working with someone like me, we work through those things specific to your issues and craft the meditation around what's going on in your life.
Interesting. So I was wondering what earlier when you said working with somebody, a practitioner. So what does that look like? So you're talking to somebody about issues that they're dealing with, and then you're crafting guided meditation to fit their needs. Is that what you just said in my okay.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of times where we might feel anxious or overwhelmed, or we feel these certain, emotions that are deemed, negative emotions or just lower vibration emotions. And a lot of what meditation is meant to do is to shift you from that into a higher emotion. And that's, through working with the mind and the heart through the meditation. And it can be really powerful. And so, you never know how, you might not know how you're feeling on a certain day when you show up to working with me, but we can work through those things based on what we're talking about, how you're feeling, what you're going through. And, it's really just about being your best and helping you be your best, and how we can support you in that emotionally and mentally. So for that, it's a really great tool to support.
Yeah, I love that. And probably people, especially who are new to meditation, would appreciate having that support and guidance.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think sometimes people feel like they're doing it wrong. And is there really such a thing?
Great question. And there isn't really such a thing as doing it wrong, because a lot of it is about the feeling and how it feels for you. And one of the things that I really do is empower people and empower them to trust themselves and what they're feeling. And if you're feeling better, then it's working. Or if sometimes we actually leave meditation and we feel worse, but that's typically not the case. But, you could be working through some really difficult emotions that were just laying deep in there. And maybe we brought it up to the surface, but that's okay because you're working through it and it's healing, and, you're getting better with time. So.
Yeah, that's a good example. I just thought of something kind of funny when you were telling that. So I have my younger son practices meditation, and his father not so much. He's the corporate executive, and it's just not part of his world. So anyway, Mark convinced his dad to give it a try. And his comment was, I guess he called him later and he said, "Oh my gosh, like after 15 minutes, I felt like I'd had a 2-hour nap." He felt great. So
yeah, it's so rejuvenating.
He's one who would say, "I can't do it. It doesn't work for me. I don't know how to do it." So Mark convinced him to do 15 minutes and he got the benefits. So I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, no, that's so true. My stepdad is very similar. He's very high strung, type A, and he struggles with anxiety and just high stress sales job. And so I gave him one of my meditations, and he was very hesitant to do it. And every day I just see new visitor from on my website, and it's always him. Him doing it. I'm like, "Oh, you're doing it again. Okay, this is great."
That's awesome.
So, it really can be one of those things you start to crave. Like, he was very hesitant. Now he's just doing it every day, and I can tell he's so much happier and he feels so much less stressed.
It just gives us a moment just to kind of turn off all the external stuff. And just get centered and remember who we are, like on a divine nature, I think.
Totally. I completely agree with that. And that's, a lot of the work that I do with the heart as well is to connect to that divine nature within us, because our mind is sort of the voice of our external world and our external programming, whereas the heart is the voice of the soul. It's really where we hold our deepest desires and our deepest wisdom. And so that's why I really encourage people to drop out of their head into their hearts, where, there lies a lot of truth, because sometimes we think too much with this and not enough with this.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
when we think with both, it's even better.
Exactly. And that's funny. That was one of the questions I was going to ask you, because we have another speaker also who spoke to meditation, and she's wonderful also. There's a lot of people teaching meditation, but not so many that mention the heart as part of it. And so I thought that was interesting that that's part of your approach and part of your coaching. So for you, is it one over the other, or does it vary day by day? Is it sometimes more head, sometimes more heart, or, or is it conscious? Do you kind of let it go?
I really believe that it's both, because they're a partnership and they work in tandem on a biological, biochemical level. And, it's important that we acknowledge that partnership, that they send signals to one another. When you're looking at stress, our emotions more than our thoughts actually activate the physiological stress response. So for that purpose, it is really good to work with the heart, but also to work with the mind and to acknowledge, okay, is this sort of the way I'm thinking about stress that's causing me to be stressed, or is it the way that, I'm feeling about it? And so it's great to work with both and to acknowledge both. And I feel that, the soul and the heart, the voice of the soul in our heart can sometimes really want things that we're not even ready for. So that's where the mind kind of is that sort of safety mechanism of keeping us safe in the world. And so where do we find the balance so that we can move forward and be comfortable but challenged at the same time?
Yes. Feel safe moving forward.
Yes.
I like that. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So could you offer us an example of a client that you've worked with, like a kind of a before and after, or a success story? I like to hear those stories too.
Yeah. I think I was recently working with a woman named Tammy, and she had this, idea to create a drop shipping business, and she invested a ton of her savings into starting this business, into buying inventory and just sort of startup costs. So, you can even see from your reaction.
I already feel it. Exactly.
It can be really stressful. And so,
yes, I feel it.
The entrepreneurs, because it can be such a roller coaster of
it's such a risk. Anything entrepreneurial is such a risk.
Exactly. So, when she first came to me, she was really stuck in this sort of financial pressure. And that was all she could think about. She couldn't even really think about the day-to-day tasks of the business because she was so focused on that sort of lack of how much she didn't have, how much she had spent. And, so we sort of looked at her situation. And one of the things we looked at was, using this ultimate reframe question that I encourage people to use, which is, what can I learn and grow from this moment? And how can I transmute it so that the stress benefits me? And so when you use this question, and when she used this question, what she was seeing was, this moment of stress, this financial pressure, that was really focused on the expense rather than the investment. This was an investment towards her goals, towards her dreams, towards creating the life that she wanted to live. And so when she was able to see that this stress was actually just, one sort of moment in just this timeline of her dreams being fulfilled and having this life she wanted, it really just shifted things for her. And she was able to sort of take that bigger picture step back, which is also one of the things that meditation can provide, is that sort of bigger picture perspective and seeing things.
And I'm sure it takes the stress just, down a few notches by being able to step back. Refocus on the goal, like a total mindset shift, just with that simple question.
Exactly. Total mindset shift. And, meditation itself can really help just regulate your nervous system. And so she was so focused on money being this sort of survival mechanism, which is where her brain was really overactive and just like trying to keep her safe, rightfully so. She had this sort of core belief that her survival was really based off the money, which is, a belief that we all share and hold. So we had to really work on this limiting belief as well, and just work on, getting her back to that sort of state of balance, and then creating, like reminding her this amazing vision that she has for herself, and making it so clear and strong that she was then like pulled by her vision rather than being pushed by her fear. And she became so excited. Yeah. And that excitement just completely transformed the way she showed up in her business, everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And what you're feeling, your emotions, and you can't do good business when you're desperate or fearful. It does come through.
Exactly.
So
it totally does.
I love that. I'll replay this and I'm going to write that down. Yeah. Stick that on my wall. So what about practical things that, a couple of simple practical steps that you might leave the listeners with, something they could easily do at home?
So I have a few things that I can touch on. I already touched on meditation a lot. I love harping about meditation because truly it transformed my life, and I know how much it can transform others. Another thing is working with heart coherence, and it's really easy to activate it yourself. You can sort of drop from your head to your heart, and you can do this eyes closed or open. But basically what you want to do is you want to just acknowledge what you're feeling, how you're feeling. So if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling anxious, just acknowledge that you're feeling that way. And then you want to choose what you'd rather feel. So that's sort of or. And little side note, one of the things I love about the word stressor, so the thing that's stressing us out, is in that word you have the choice, you have the word or, meaning you have choice. So you could think of this as like stress or, and then choose what you'd rather feel. So, and if you're feeling stressed, you might want to choose peace. You might want to choose love, joy, happiness, just an elevated emotion, something that feels better. And you're going to, once you choose that emotion, you're going to start breathing into and out of your chest, as if you could imagine air flowing in and out. And then once you do that, you'll breathe in this elevated emotion. So maybe you recall a time when you felt really at peace, or you can just breathe in what you would imagine peace would feel like to you, or breathing in the word. And once you do that, you might even feel your heart start to sort of ripple and to feel that sensation move throughout your body and even beyond your body. Because, when you activate heart coherence, you're activating this energetic field around your body 360 degrees. And, our heart is just so powerful, 60 times more powerful than our brain, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy in terms of the electromagnetic field that it produces. But that's essentially what
Wow.
you'd want to do, is just breathe in and out of the heart,
Love
breathe
that.
in that elevated emotion, and immediately you'll feel better. Do that for a few minutes, and you'll feel that sort of sensation ripple throughout your body, and your heart coherence will be activated.
And don't you think life will look different after doing that? And you go out into the world, people are going to feel it and sense it.
100%. So what's crazy about working with the heart, and one of the things that I love the most, is because it produces this sort of electromagnetic field beyond your bodies. When people come into contact with that field, they can feel it, they can sense
Yeah,
it. So if you've
absolutely.
ever had like a time where you feel angry at someone and they're near you and they can just sense it, you might not be communicating it, but they're like, whoa, like what's going on? I can sense
Right.
something's all right. That's why. It's because they're coming into contact with your field that's produced by how you're feeling within your heart, and it's just sending that out around you and within you.
Right. Right. Some people are really good at reading energy and some are not. I'm really intuitive and empathetic, and I can read energy. Like, it's crazy. I know what people are thinking sometimes. Like, I know, I don't, yeah, it just is. It's like a big sign in front of them.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. And the thing is too, when we operate out of our heart rather than our head, and we're connecting, like even just you and me here on a heart basis, the way in which we feel and sense each other is so much different than if we were just living up in our heads. So I always really encourage people to
Exactly.
walk into your heart, live in your heart, live out of your heart, and it
Yes.
just transforms the situation and your conversations.
It's a great reminder.
Yeah.
It really is. I
Yeah.
remember seeing this was goodness, probably 20 years ago. I think I read about it in a book, and I won't be able to tell you where, but it was a spiritual teacher, maybe India or something, would go and sit in the street and just radiate love, just sit and radiate love. And I don't even remember at this point if it was a man or a woman, but like crowds would just come and gather around just to feel this energy. Isn't that beautiful?
It's so beautiful. It is
I
beautiful.
remember reading that years and years ago, thinking, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to be able to just send that much love, right? And that's what they did. They sat down on the ground on the sidewalk and just meditated and radiated love to people, and people were like drawn like
Yeah.
crazy. Isn't that beautiful?
That's beautiful. And I think something that's, really important for listeners to understand as well is you don't have to be some sort of monk to do that. You don't have to be some sort of elevated spiritual teacher to be that person. You can sit there on the street and you can send out love to people, and it will make an impact and it will make a difference. So I think that's really important for people to know and to understand, is like,
Yeah,
you have
that's a
this power within you.
that's a great point. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm
Yeah.
also just having this vision, like, wouldn't it be amazing if everyone that's listening on the summit made a choice to, and we don't have to sit in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Just like maybe do an experiment if you're out at a restaurant or something, and just, for once a week, just practice that. Wouldn't that be great?
I love that. And there's so many studies too about group meditation and, just sort of the sending of love, how much that has radically impacted the world. And, when you put all of our vibrations together and all of us together in a room, it just like, I mean, I can feel it in my body just talking about it, but
Right?
it's just like,
Yeah,
wow.
exactly. And it feels so good when you're in that energy and kind of on the right path, and then things just fall into place easily. And I'm really excited talking to you about this, because for a long time, the last few years, I've not been in that place. But it was years of unbelievable stress and just making it through the day and, just being off track and off focus. And so actually, it's one of the reasons I decided to do this summit was because, or since COVID, I would say not because of COVID, but since COVID, I think just a lot of people still feel stuck in that isolation and fear. And so this is just about putting out tools to help people reconnect, redirect, find some joy and peace again. And so I love your talk.
Oh, thank you. And I think you just made a great point about, just exactly how you just, took your situation where you were feeling stress and you just changed that and you just transmuted it so it benefits you and it benefits others. And a lot of time when we look at our stress and we're asking, how do I transmute it so that it benefits me? A lot of times it's about how it benefits others, how we serve others and how we show up. So, I think you're living proof, beautiful example of, taking that sort of question and making it work for you and work for others and look at the impact that you're having. So,
this is so exciting to me because I love helping people. And, I've met so many great people. All the speakers that are part of this are just fantastic. And I think it's really going to make a difference. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. We want to make a positive difference in the world. And even if it's one person at a time, just put out some love and some positive energy. And I just love it. Is there, do you have anything that you would like to kind of sum it up and close with before you tell us about your gift for everyone?
Sure. I just really encourage people to trust themselves, to trust what they're going through, whatever they're experiencing. If you feel that something's not right, maybe something isn't right, and I encourage you to seek help and to, reach out to me or Janine and just, we're here as support. We're here as resources. And if you have any questions about anything, you want to learn more about these tools, you want to learn them for yourself, how to use them for you, or if you want to work with me, I'm here to be a resource. And I mean, I'm like you, Janine, where I really want to help people. And, this is something that I feel so called to do. So if you feel called to working with me, please don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, I work with all kinds of people. So I just want to make sure that I help people. So
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us about your gift so people can, go further with you and discover more.
Absolutely. So with my gift, you'll get a distress to de-stress meditation. And this one is a guided, it's amazing. It's a guided imagery meditation that, has really helped a lot of people with stress from their day-to-day, stress from work, stress from illness, like any stress, you name it, this will really help you. And then another gift I have is my monthly Mind, Body, Soul journal. And this is really just something you can use that I feel will help you be your best self and make sure that every aspect of you is really covered and taken care of and making sure that you're nurturing that on a daily basis. And then I've also decided to include one more thing, which isn't listed, but I'm including my combat to combat meditation.
I love that.
I know. I'm like, it's great because it really helps you turn from defense to being on the attack. So that way you're not letting stress rule your day. Instead, you're being the one who rules your day instead of your day ruling you. So that meditation is really helpful, especially if you're in the corporate world. Like that one is the one I give out to tons of people in the sort of high stress work environments.
For sure.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, that's really generous. You're actually giving 3 gifts.
Yes.
So thank you very much. This has been wonderful. And I always hate to wind them down because the talks are so much fun. But I'm going to bring you on and just tell you, thank you so much. I just appreciate everything you shared with us. And this has been a really delightful chat. And I can tell that you're very heart-centered.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this has been lovely. And I just, thank you for having me. Thank you to everyone who's listening and watching. And I'm so grateful to be here.
And I forgot to mention, we will have the link below the video for you to access that gift. So definitely, reach out and continue on with Natalie. And thank you again, Natalie. You have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.